sublimate onto a mason jar? The answer is yes and no, and we're going to go through all of that today. So if you are new here, you are Crafting with Kim Byers, I'd love for you to pop down in the comments and say hi. So let's go ahead and pop into it. So first of all, yes, you can sublimate onto a mason jar, but not all mason jars are created equal. So you are not going to be able to run down to the dollar store or your grocery store and pick up a mason jar and use that for sublimation. You're going to need a sublimation blank. And so today I'm going to share with you some mason jar sublimation blanks that have worked really well for me that I enjoy crafting with. And then secondly, I'm going to walk you into a couple of different machines. So I have three sublimation machines here in my studio. And so I've used all of these except one. One is brand new and I've never used it before. So we're gonna go through all of that. I'm gonna share that with you. And then lastly, I'm gonna walk you through some things that you can do to make this process easier for you or more flawless for you. And so we're gonna walk beginning to end and create a sublimation mason jar, and this is going to be something that can be giftable. So I'm going to do a Christmas sublimation gift that you can make along with me. Okay guys, let's go. Okay, so let's start on talking about mason jars. So there are a number of different mason jars that you can use for sublimation. What you can't do is use one of the traditional, this is a wide mouth ball jar. And of course it has bumps on it and things, which would make it really difficult to sublimate. But not only that, it doesn't have the coating that you have to have when you do sublimation. So these are the three that we're gonna talk about today, but I wanted to show you this. So you can purchase glass. This is a sublimation glass. And so if you tried to sublimate onto this, it would work. They look the same, but this one actually has a sublimation coating. So just make sure that when you're purchasing your items, you're not going to the dollar store or anything like that, you're actually purchasing sublimation items. Now I'm gonna put links to all of these down in the description below. I also wanted to show you, so like these are super popular, these cans with the bamboo lids, these are really popular. This is glass, same thing. Now this is a frosted glass, but you can get them in clear. You can also get them in there's like glitter versions, and they all come with straws. Now these have glass straws, and again, I'll put all these down below. I don't really love the glass straws always because I'm afraid I'm gonna break them, but you can also get them with metal straws. The metal straws typically come with these types of items. You can also get these, which I just think these are really cool. So they're water bottles and they have a plastic straw. Isn't that cool? So I'm actually going to make this one for my niece, but it comes with the extension for the plastic straw, and it even comes, let's see if I can get it to come out. There we go. So it even has the little strap, so you can have that for back to school. Isn't that fun? Or anytime, right? I'm making this for her for Christmas. Okay, and then what I wanted to show you about these, there's a whole host of other ones. Okay, I'm gonna show you this one too because I just love this. Now, all of these you can make in the machine that I'm showing you today. But how fun is that? So it has the bamboo screw off lid. Now these are glass. These are high quality glass, and they're not just, you know, thin, they're pretty thick. You can see right there how thick that lip is. But these are really, really great. And I've actually made several of those as gifts. So for these, I'm actually kind of really loving this. Now, I made a mason jar with this. So this is the metal lid, metal insulated, fantastic. This was a really great one, and I actually just lost. It has even the plastic seal for that. Now these hold heat and cold really well, and I've made multiple gifts with those. But I'm gonna put this down below as well as the video up above. Now I made this in a mug press, like a Cricut mug press, and so you can watch that video on how to do that one. So for today though, we are going to be using these. Now these are the new PYD mugs, and this is a silicone lid. And I have to tell you guys, I am really digging this silicone lid. Like it has the little, you can hear it. Can you hear it popping? So it's like a nice secure fit. It's gonna be easy to clean. And I just love that. I love the way it looks. Pop that on, and it comes with a straw, or you can use this one or have this one, which has the handle, which is just fantastic. Now these are ceramic. Okay, so for those of you who like having your coffee out of ceramic and not metal, this one's for you. Okay, so let's set those down, and these are a couple of things that you may want to consider for whatever machine you're using. So this is a stand. This just keeps your item from rolling away, and I use this for vinyl a lot, but I also use it for sublimation because it just makes it easier to wrap and tape and all that kind of thing. And then these are essential. So if you are using a Cricut mug press, or if you are using the mug press that I'm going to show you today, which is the PYD Craft Hobby Mug Press, or if you're using the larger one, these are silicone wraps, okay? And they're different thicknesses. And so depending on your mason jar or your can or your bottle or whatever it is that you're making, especially if you're using one of the non-adjustable mug presses like the Cricut mug press, this is going to take up the extra space. And not only that, it's going to conduct heat. So you're going to be able to use this and it's going to conduct heat, so you're not going to have any issues whatsoever. I've used this multiple times and these are phenomenal. Again, I'll put those down below in case you guys want that. So this is PYD brand, PYD brand. These are Heat Transfer Warehouse, I believe, PYD Heat Transfer Warehouse. There are lots of places where you can get this stuff. You can get it on Amazon, but I am personally going to show you the ones I'm loving today. Okay, so let me introduce you to this cutie. So this is the PYD Life Hobby, Craft and Hobby Mug Press. So if you have seen my video, and I'll put it up above, of the larger tumbler press, I have the bigger one. And so this is just like a little mini me. I mean, it's the exact same thing, but tiny and just so cute. But the nice thing about this that you're not going to find with your Cricut is the fact that you can adjust the size of your sleeve, and you can also get different sleeves. So this sleeve is going to easily fit this mason jar. Now, and again, this is the same brand. Of course, you would take off any silicone because you don't want to burn anything, but it's going to be able to do your mason jars. It's going to be able to do even things like this. So if you wanted to do just half of this, I love putting monograms on things like this. So you see how it doesn't fit, right? So you would be able to adjust with this one to where it's a, whoops, you'd be able to adjust it so that it has a better fit. And this also comes with a guide. So your Cricut mug press does not have a temperature on it. Basically, it is one size fits all. So you just press a button, the indicator light goes, and so you're not going to have to worry about temperatures. But with this, and because you have adjustable, your guide with this is going to talk to you about temperatures, and it's also going to talk to you about pressure. And so depending on what you're putting into it, it's going to tell you to do a lighter pressure or a stronger pressure. And then if you need things like this, you could always use this as well. So it's going to allow you to adjust down to something pretty skinny. But let's just say, and I did this one in a different video, but just say that you wanted to do something like this, and this is basically a glass skinny tumbler, and even when you went all the way down, it was still kind of loose. That's when these little silicone sheets are going to come into play. And again, they're heat conductors, so you're not going to have to worry about losing any heat. And of course, with the larger items, you could have the larger press, which is what I have, and I again put that up above, or you could do the rotation method like we do on other things. So you're going to basically just rotate your design around, or take the lid off, always take the lids off, and then move it so that you get the full press. So if you are going to be regularly doing large things, I would say maybe you want to step up and look at the bigger press. But if you're going to be doing mason jars and mugs and these smaller things, this is a perfect size, and it's very compact and easy to maneuver and move around. So I can actually turn it on its side and show you. So like this is the on off switch, and then this is where you're actually going to be able to unscrew that and take that sleeve out. See, everything has these tiny little screws, so you're going to be able to remove that. That's the heater coil, and then swap that out for something else. Say you wanted to do like the small wine glasses or something, you're going to be able to do that with this press, and it's all in the sleeve. And so then when I plug it in a second, you're going to be able to see the full display right here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug it in and let's make something. Let's start with our design. So we're on one of my favorite websites to grab images on, and this is Creative Fabrica. Okay, so to start us out, we're going to just look for Libby glass designs, which are what those jars are. So we're going to do Christmas Libby glass, and let's just see what we get. So see, there are tons on here that are already pre-designed designed or sized for the Libby glass. So if you want to do the Libby glass, now we are doing mason jars, but see how many cute, fun designs there are. And so these are some of the shorter Libby glass. So if you wanted to do this, like oh dear, you got the peppermint, let it snow, all the fun things. This one's just Christmas lights. You could do poinsettias. I mean, just see, so much is available. Now, if you wanted to go a little bit, you know, outside of not just looking at what people have pre-designed for that, let's do something that's kind of trendy. And if you didn't see my video last week, I talk about trends. And so I am actually really loving this right here, Christmas Calories Don't Count. That would be super fun, but you can just see there are just so many designs, and these are pre-made, guys. So what you want to do is you want to pick one. So say we pick this, and then I download that to my computer. So let's go ahead and pop over to Canva, and let me show you what you can do in Canva. So Canva is a tool that you can use, a free tool. It's an app that you can use to flip your designs. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a design. I want this to print as an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So we're going to do a custom size, and I'm just going to change this to inches, and I'm going to do 8.5 by 11. Now what I'm going to be able to do is to go over and just upload that image that I just pulled in. Okay, so now that we have it on our canvas, the next thing we want to do is click position, and it's going to tell us our width and height of our image. And so we know that our mason jar, when we measure it, our flat area is 3.5 by 10. So what we want to do is we want to start out by making the height of it, because that's our height, is 3.5. So I'm going to go a little bit lower than that, so 3.3. And so now what you could do is you could put that design on both sides of your image, because now this image is only 4.32. So you could actually duplicate it and do it twice, or you could add snowflakes or whatever the case that you would want to do, or maybe even put someone's name on the other side of it to personalize it if you were making multiples of these. So for this instance, I'm just going to do it twice. So then I'm going to double click on that and duplicate it. And so now I have two images, and because these are actual graphics, not font, and I go over this in a different video, you can flip them. So if they are a picture, you can flip them. So you go up to the top, hit flip, and then you just mirror image or flip that around. Okay? And now we're going to download this to our computer and then print from our computer. And I'm going to use a PNG, which is your best for complex images and illustrations. To print, just make sure a couple of things are clicked. So I'm using a converted Canon Epson EcoTank. So just make sure you have the right printer. And then the other important things, we do not want to scale to fit. You want that to be 100% of your design. Sometimes it'll do that. I don't know why. It's annoying. And then in media and quality, you just want to make sure that you have a photo quality. It's going to give you options, plain paper. You want photo, all the ink, and then the quality you want best is going to default to normal, and you want best. And then you can print. Okay, so we have our print, and it came out beautifully. It's kind of a retro vibe. Now remember, when you have a sublimation print, it's going to be somewhat subdued in color until you apply the heat. So it's not quite as bright as it's going to be once we put it onto our mason jar. Now, a couple of things. So these mason jars, the ones I was showing you, this is a metal mason jar, the one that has no handle. And then the other one is a ceramic mason jar. And so that's the one with the handle. So you can tell the difference. And you can notice in person that this one is slightly, give it some, this one is slightly off-white. I mean, it's white, but it has a little bit of color to it. And then the metal one is like a pure white. So we're actually going to do the metal one, but I wanted to point this out to you because in the pamphlet, and I actually like this, in the back, it shows you what the temperature should be for that particular item and the machine, which is great. It not only does that, but it also tells you about pressure. So if you were doing ceramic, you would be doing a medium pressure, but because we're doing metal, it will be a light pressure. So if you get one of these, just make sure that you double check this and make sure that you're doing not only the right temperature and time, but also the correct pressure since it's adjustable. Okay, so I've gone ahead and trimmed out our design. Just a couple of things to note about this. Do not put lotion on your hands before you touch this. You could get that greasy film on your sublimation. You don't want to do that. And the other thing is in hindsight, I probably should have lined them up on the same sheet of paper, since I could have gotten 10 inches on that and then they would have been perfectly aligned, but I didn't do that. So we're going to kind of eyeball it. So here's what we do. So we're going to set those aside for a moment. We're going to go ahead and turn on our machine. So before it gets warm, I can show you this really great digital display. Isn't this awesome? So now if we're using metal, we're only going to heat for 60 seconds. So we're going to want to go in and make sure that we're on 360 for temperature, but we're going to want to down that to 60 seconds for the metal. Okay, so while our machine is getting warmed up, we want to go ahead and do a couple of things. Before you sublimate anything, you want to clean it, okay? So this is alcohol, and I'm just going to spray that on to my mason jar. And we want to make sure that we spray that, we clean it, and we allow it to dry before we put our design on it. And we don't want to touch it and get, you know, all the oils and things from our fingers. Even if we didn't use lotion, we still have natural oils on our fingers. Another great reason to have this little stand so we don't mess up our design. So we want to clean that really good. Okay, so now we're going to put our alcohol out of the way, and we want to take 2 pieces, 3 if you wrap it all the way around, pieces of parchment paper or butcher paper. That's what we're going to use. And we also want heat tape. I've used both Cricut brand and PYD heat tape, and I actually like them both. Okay, so our machine is ready. Now, one thing to remember, guys, is you want a well-ventilated area when you're doing sublimation, because you are actually, you know, heating up or burning dyes and ink. So you don't want to breathe that. So let's go ahead and take our design. We're going to flip that face down onto our mug. And because we don't have a handle, we don't have to worry about that placement. I wish I had more hands. So see, I have this, which is great, but I wish I had a couple more hands. And I'm going to line it up across the bottom here of our, and I used a straight edge. Okay, so let me just show you this. I used a straight edge, which is my paper trimmer, for cutting out my design. And the reason that I do that is because I like to use that straight edge along the bottom of all of my crafts so that I make sure I don't get anything crooked. How terrible would that be, right? If it got crooked, that would drive me nuts. Okay, so now we're going to tape that down. And then we're going to flip it around, and I can actually see on both sides, you can't really see it on camera, but on both sides, I can see my paper. So I'm going to know exactly where to put the other one. So I know that I have, my paper is halfway down on both sides. So then I'm gonna do the same on this side. And if you were in the room, you would be able to smell this machine. It's like when you warm them up, they don't smell great. I have to admit, they don't smell great. But that's all of them because I have multiple ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this with our parchment paper. And some people get very, very particular about it being exactly the right size and that kind of thing. I'll be honest with you, I don't, just because I'm doing so many crafts. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. And plus, because this is open. If it was in the Cricut Mug Press where it sits down inside of it, I would be a little bit more, you know, perfect in this, but the paper can actually stick out both ends. Now, one thing you do want to make sure that you can still tell, because this machine is going to have a gap at the top because of the size of the mason jar. So you're going to want to make sure that you are pressing both images on both sides and you're not missing some of the design at the gap area. So we're going to go ahead and take some more heat tape. Going to tape that down. Again, and if it concerns you, you could absolutely tape it down. Now, I do not have, oops. I actually have a straight edge right here. So I'm not trying to like pull or form any color to the bottom of this mug. But again, if it bothers you, you can always kind of tuck it in. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do though is I want to put on my gloves, because at this point, this guy is 365 degrees. These were like $6 or $7 on Amazon, and I'll be honest with you, they have saved my hands on multiple occasions. So we can now see that this is the gap. If you can see that on camera, I'm not sure if you can see through the paper. I can. So this is the gap of our design. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in with the gap of our design facing up. And if it doesn't cover the whole thing, I'm just going to turn it and then we'll just press it twice. So it's not a big deal. It's only 120 seconds. And so this again is a light pressure. This doesn't have to be a medium pressure. And I think we are going to twist it once because I'm not confident that it went the entire cover and I don't want to miss any of that cute design. So as soon as you close it, it's supposed to start counting down. My other one does. This one didn't. Okay, so that's a good thing to know. This is brand new to me, guys. So my machine that looks just like this, but that is this big, as soon as you close it, it immediately starts to count down the press, and this one does not. So you actually have to press the little start button. Other than that, they look just alike. Okay, so this is going to press for 60 seconds and then we will twist it. Okay, and there's no way you're gonna miss this. You didn't hear it, but it screams at you when it's done. So we're going to go ahead and pop back on our gloves. I'm going to open, and it does jump a little bit. Okay, so you want this on a sturdy surface, and then I am just going to twist. Let's twist this way. And I'm actually going to twist it to the halfway mark just so I know that it's all the way down. Okay, there we go. And one more time. Okay, so now we just want to take that out. We're gonna set this on here to cool, which is another reason I love this thing. It won't roll away, so we're just gonna set that there to cool. And because we're only doing one, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down and start letting this machine cool as well. Okay, so metal takes a little bit longer to cool, so I'm actually gonna use my gloves. It's pretty cool, but I just wasn't sure on the inside. So this is my favorite part, unwrapping, and like, it's like a big reveal. I love this part. Okay, so we're gonna take that off. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Well, I don't know. It's actually still a little warm. I might need to give that just another second because I want to make sure that it gets the best possible press. So I don't want to take it off too soon. And again, metal holds the heat a little bit better. So we're going to give that another second. Okay, so it's cooled down a good bit more. So we're going to go ahead and do the big reveal, see what it looks like. Oh, guys, wow, perfect, like literally perfection. Oh my goodness. I mean, every detail. This is not something you would ever be able to do with like vinyl. There's just all the tiny little elements of the design. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer so you can see that. And I will link this design up down below, as well as all the other ones that we were looking at, just because you guys may want to try some of these out yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and peel off the other side. And there we go. Absolutely perfect. And you can see here, so that we did it right? There's very little ink left on that paper. By the way, this is A-Sub paper that I used. A-Sub paper. This is a PYD mug, which I'll link up down below. And then this is the PYD Craft Hobby Tumbler. I'm not sure I'm giving that to anybody, guys. I think that might just be mine. Love it. Thanks so much for crafting with me. I will see you in the next one.